reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time,
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady's reclaimed her time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual. You apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information? The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
You sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
Time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she
question.
ask Merrick Garland this?
I am
Twice,
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my-
gentlelady's
I'm
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
what a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you
Chairman.
restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not going to get in
interrupted.
the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have my
The
time.
gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level
Chairman,
apologize.
You're now recognized.
Following this high-stakes February 2026 oversight hearing, the political and legal fallout intensified immediately as a coalition of House lawmakers formally requested an internal investigation by the Department of Justice's Office of Professional Responsibility. This newly launched congressional inquiry is demanding deep institutional accountability for the severe procedural errors that led to the unredacted exposure of victim identifiers, home addresses, and private communications. At the exact same time, legal representatives for the survivors filed an emergency motion in federal court seeking immediate protective orders and a full forensic audit of the department's database release protocols to ensure no further unauthorized data dumps occur under this administration. The political battlefield inside the House Judiciary Committee completely shattered into an intense, deeply personal confrontation over the enforcement of federal transparency mandates and the protection of vulnerable crime victims. Representative Pramila Jayapal launched a blistering, visual-heavy cross-examination of Attorney General Pam Bondi regarding the department's execution of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was explicitly designed to expose perpetrators while masking the identities of those who suffered under his trafficking ring. Jayapal went on the offensive by revealing internal emails that proved a stark, legally unacceptable double standard in how the files were processed. She showed that while the names of powerful figures with corporate ties to prominent administration advisors were heavily redacted, the highly sensitive personal data, emails, addresses, and even explicit photographs of dozens of trafficking survivors were left completely exposed to the public. The courtroom drama reached an absolute breaking point when Jayapal directly integrated the survivors present in the hearing room into the official congressional record. At the lawmakers' request, the survivors stood up in the gallery and raised their hands to confirm a devastating reality. The current Department of Justice had completely failed to meet or consult with them regarding the catastrophic privacy breach, which the victims themselves described as a deliberate attempt to intimidate and punish those who came forward. Seizing on the moment, Jayapal aggressively demanded that Attorney General Bondi physically turn around, look the survivors in the eyes, and issue a direct apology for the profound secondary trauma inflicted by our department's handling of the files. The hearing rapidly devolved into a chaotic, table-banging, shouting match as Bondi flatly refused to pivot or apologize, triggering an immediate intervention by the committee chairman to protect the witness. When Bondi tried to deflect blame by pointing to the actions of her predecessor, Merrick Garland, Jayapal repeatedly cut off the defense to declare that true leadership requires taking immediate responsibility for current institutional harm rather than hiding behind past administrations. As the chairman hammered his gavel and accused the lawmaker of engaging in theatrical stunts, Jayapal forcefully utilized her remaining seconds to slam the entire process as an ongoing, massive systemic cover-up, explicitly noting that while the administration used the promise of transparency as a core political campaign tool, the reality has resulted in the protection of predators at the direct expense of the victims.